This is the second video for the Perfect Prospect Profile Workshop. So if you haven't watched the first video on P3, Perfect Prospect Profile, please take a look at it. If you've already seen it, this is the video that will walk you through the workshop on how to define and develop your own P3. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, in the prior video, we talked about the Perfect Prospect Profile, or P3, and suggested that the perfect people, perfect prospects, fall on this side of your standard distribution of your available market, and that you want to build your list of prospects with folks on this side, and maybe a little bit on this side, but nothing over here. Okay, we want to skip those folks. And when you have a list of leads or prospects, or maybe even a list of suspects, maybe that's the best way to frame this. Again, going back to the whole notion of your prospecting path to success, is you want to have this list made up and ready to go so that when you close a deal, you're ready to put 2 or 3 more opportunities into the pipeline, into the sales funnel. And during the week, you are setting aside time to do prospecting, whatever that looks like. That's not the purpose of this video. But you want to have a list in front of you, not searching around for names. I know there was somebody who was going to call. Who was that? That's not how you want to do it. And again, this targeting idea of setting priorities, where the yellow here are your first priority, the reds are your second priority, and anything, in this case, the traditional archery score would be 6 times 10 possible would be 60. You may want to be going slightly lower than that, but anything less than 40 would not be something you want to devote a lot of time to. So those will be your third or last priority. In any event, with that as preamble, if you want to know more, go watch the Perfect Prospect Profile video. What we want to do now is give you the instructions. I'm actually going to walk you through how to create the Perfect Prospect Profile, and we'll go through the directions and the forms and the whole goodie here. Okay, so I have this form made out. I have it as a PDF if you want to download it. It's certainly not a hard form to create. Basically, you need a piece of paper with 5 columns on it, and as long as you can keep straight what the columns are, and I think you will after we go through this exercise. So here's how we begin. I want you to think of the best customer you have, okay? And they may be the biggest, but they may also not be the biggest. They're just, for whatever reason, your favorite, okay? And however you define that. And we talked about demographics versus psychographics in the Perfect Prospect Profile video. Demographics are anything that are quantitative and numeric: size of company, geographic location, zip code, industry, SIC code, total revenues, that sort of thing. Psychographics are values and attitudes, or what we have here are attributes, things that are qualitative. And we'll have some examples of that in just a second as we get into it. So over on the left, I want you to think of the name of your best, most favored customer and write their name down right here. Okay? And then, complete opposite of that, over on the far right here, I want you to write the name of the worst customer, the customer you wished you'd never sold or inherited, and everybody's had one or has one of those. Write down their name, okay? And as long as you're over there, write down the name of your next worst, and your next worst, and your next worst. Said another way, they're getting slightly better with each name you write. until you come to a point where there's a major difference, a quantum distinction between the last name you wrote and the next name you'd write. It's like these guys are bad, but these guys are awful, okay? When you get to that point, stop. Don't force it. So if you only have 2 names, that's fine. If you have 15 names, I'm sorry for you. That's not a very happy existence, but that's okay too. As long as they're, really worst customers, okay? Then come back over here on the left and write down the name of your next best and next best and next best. Said differently, they're getting a little worse with each name you write down, a little less good, until you come to a place where there's a major difference, a distinction you would make between the last name you wrote and the next name you'd write. These guys are really good, but these guys are primo. These guys are fab, okay? When you get to that point, stop. And again, don't force it. If you have 2 names, 1 name, that's fine. 2 or 3 would be better than 1 if you have some good ones. If you have 6 or 8, that's great, but don't force it. Okay. Then, while you're over there, what you want to do on this next column is look at this group as a whole. What attributes are common to them, common among them, but unique to them? Let me say that again. When you look at this group as a whole, what attributes are common among them, but unique to them? And the kinds of things, and demographics are fine, they're large, they're well-funded, but we're looking for psychographics here, remember? Okay, since you probably already have demographics. So things that typically come up are they're honest, they're win-win, they're smart, and so on. Okay, whatever comes up for you. I don't want to put words in your mouth or on your form. So look at that primo group as a whole, attributes that are common among them, unique to them, and just go ahead and list those here. Okay. And in the interest of time, you can either stop right now and run that, or you can just go through the whole tape and kind of do your own timing later. But give folks a few minutes for this, okay? And again, working individually on all of this right now. Okay, and then you want to do the same thing for those who want to jump ahead. Similar thing over here with the worst customers. You want to look at them as a group. What attributes are common among them and unique to them? And I always invite people to really vent on this side. So they're stupid, they're cheap, they're, disrespectful, they blow off meetings, or they're always late for meetings, they're liars, whatever. Again, I don't want to put words in your mouth or on your form, but give this some time and really let it go. And when I've run workshops, sometimes people are just burning up their pens while they're writing this stuff down. That's great. That's exactly what we want. So just go for it. And again, if you're running the workshop as a manager, give people 5 minutes or so. Give them a few minutes anyway to really get that stuff down. Okay? And then we want to get to these folks. We're getting to the perfect prospect now. And clearly all of these things would fall into the center here. So you don't have to rewrite all of them. And the opposite or the inverse of all of these things would go in the center. And I do want you to write those in the center if they're not already here on the left. So stupid, the opposite of stupid would be smart. We already have that, so we don't need to do that. Cheap, the opposite of cheap, we don't really have that over here. It might be value or quality oriented. So let's put that down as an example. Okay, so they're quality oriented. I'm not sure what happened to here we go. Opposite of liars is honest, so we'd have that. Innovative might be something you have down here. Risk takers, whatever. It's your list. So you want to get all of these things and the opposite or inverse of all of these things into the center here. Okay. And then we come to the final piece, which is, now that everybody's done this work individually, you want to have them as a team talk about these, really talk about it. And if it means debating it or arguing over it, that's great. Go for it. Because what you want to do is get down to your top 5 attributes. Okay? And then you'll have the basis for your list building. You'll have your demographic top 5 and your psychographic top 5. And if you then score each of these attributes from 1 to 10, you can have a possible score of 50 here and 50 here. And that's where you get the targeting scores for this guy, okay? And the thing we had suggested on the video was, let me get rid of this now. Maybe these people are 100 down to 80, and these folks are 79 down to 50, and these folks are 40, 79 down to 60, sorry. And these folks would be 59 down to 40, and below that, you just don't want to go there, okay? So that's how you run the workshop. That's how you come up with your profile. And when you start looking at these things, whatever you come up with, there may be some you don't know. That's a question mark. Rather than assuming it or guessing at it, that brings us back to, that's how you start going after business you don't want, is a whole bunch of these don't really fit, but we're going to go after them anyway because we need it, okay? And so we're going to hope against hope that it'll work out. And all that really means is you're going after lower quality stuff, or you may be missing the target entirely and just basically throwing away resource, which is what we talked about earlier. So those are the directions for the workshop. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out, give me a call, send me an email, text me, whatever. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. I hope you enjoyed it. Take good care. Talk soon.